afternoon. This is the knitting news from Knit Happens Teesside for the 21st week of 2024. If you remember last week, I did tell you that Jill had been doing rather a lot of nattering and not a lot of knitting. Well, I did know that she would get quite a lot of knitting done in the week. And by the Sunday, she had knitted the back and 2 sleeves of the top that she'd got the front of on Thursday. So that's all knitted, and I think it's just ready to be seamed and sewn together. So she was working on. She'd also knit another front or back front, I think. Or so since last Thursday, between 2 Thursdays, she'd made a back, 2 sleeves, and a front. So yeah, a whole garment. So she's made a front of a new one, which is a Kim Hargreaves pattern out of pink bamboo cotton. It's King Cole and it's still available. Helen had a plethora of knitting patterns with her and possibilities and lots of yarny goodness. Quite a bit of it that was bought for her as a gift from a partner, so she's feeling, I think she's at an obliged point where she's obliged to find things to knit with this yarn. So she also had the cotton sienna that she was looking at before, and she had this pattern, this Jaeger pattern that she's bought on eBay.
Wow.
So I think her yarn is Rowan sienna and the pattern's Jaeger sienna. But Rowan and Jaeger, I think, were sort of one and the same at one point, so it might be just exactly the same yarn. But it's for a 4-ply cotton. And it's a lovely pattern, isn't it? I'm thinking, I'm quite tempted to make that one myself. I think it'll be very flattering. So some of the yarn that she had with her, some was pure silk. Isn't that gorgeous? I'm not quite sure what her plan is for that one. She's got some green yarn. I don't think I took a picture of it, but it was 2 shades of green. So there was like a deeper forest green that was really quite nice. And then like a fresh sort of soft mint or maybe mint ice cream sort of green that was a little bit too fresh. So she's thinking of making a Louisa Harding jumper that's got 2 colours that she's found. If she adds a kid's silk lace, then it'll be a 4-ply. So she's thinking of doing that with it and toning it down with a mohair that'll tone the colour down a little bit, because it's just a bit Kool-Aid-y. Coffee with a little bit of vanilla, because I always like my coffee with a little bit of vanilla at home. Helen was working on the border still on her spring garden blanket. She did start the other blanket because the spring garden blanket was a little bit bulky to be travelling with. So she started on another one. So the shell one was a bit more, she didn't have to mess about with patterns and things. She could just sit wherever she was and work on that one. And that one's, well, they did stay with some friends, I think, for a night or 2, and they were suitably impressed, as they should be. So that was quite good. Brownie points. Aren't you clever, Helen? I was working on the cast-off of my ugly cat shawl, and it's tantalisingly close to being finished, but not quite. So here it is. So now it doesn't have a needle attached, and I've done an I-cord, and I just have to tidy up in the middle. And some of the ends I wove in while I was knitting, and some of the ends I didn't, because I didn't think it was as good as sewing them in at the end when I was finished. So it's very good for swooshing and swishing around in. And it will be in the next issue of Blocked magazine, which is probably out in June sometime, I think, and it will be issue 15. And you will be able to make this size or a smaller one. I'm not quite sure how many sizes there are, I should have checked. But if you want something to knit that keeps you really, really busy and uses lots of random colours up, then this is a good one, isn't it? And looks beautiful at the end, like it's all intentional, which, well, it kind of was. I am wearing, all it says is short cardigan. This is cotton. It's 100% cotton. And I haven't made a note of it and therefore cannot remember what it is. And the pattern is a Louisa Harding pattern from a book called Cardigans. When I was watching YouTube earlier in the week, I was watching somebody called Moira and Moira MC, and she had a really good idea that I hadn't thought about. Pyjama skirts, because nobody wants to wear a nightie. Well, some people might, but I don't wear nighties because they would be all twisted up by the time I got out of bed in the morning. I wear pyjamas. But instead of wearing pyjama trousers, you could make, if you made your own, you could make skirts. Or you could make pyjama bottoms into skirts. And there might not be enough space, she was saying. But you could sew sort of a triangle of fabric in between. If you cut the legs open and keep it A-line and then put another piece of fabric in. That would work. Because skirts are really comfortable, aren't they? They might be more comfortable than pyjama bottoms. Pyjama skirts. And then if you went to the door or the bin or something like that in your pyjama skirt, people wouldn't know you had your pyjamas on. That's another thing I thought was a good idea about it. Well, the cat's fine, apart from wanting attention at 5 o'clock in the morning, walking right up to your head on the pillow and going meow. She gets a full dish left out for her every night, a full dish of food, so she doesn't need feeding. The dogs are all right. The fish are all right, but I still haven't seen them. We had one day where it rained all day. It didn't stop raining, so they've got a nice top up of rainwater to the pond. But also it was very cloudy, so my bubbler wasn't working either. I have scooped out quite a few times and I'm still waiting to get the water clear, so I'm still not completely clear. But I found a use for my glove. I went to my son's house the other day and I noticed that they'd got a blocked drain. So I said, would you like to use one of my gloves? You can have it because I have 2 left ones. So there's a glove at our house for pond cleaning and a glove at his house for drain clearing.
on TKO and the new Cage Warriors Featherweight Champion of the World, Helen Hargreaves.
I think that's everything. So, more news, maybe next week.